You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
I can't hear you,
you're
Maria.
muted,
You're
Maria.
muted.
Sorry, I decided to eat a cookie, and that was a mistake.
Never a mistake.
I mean, they're fresh baked, so I had to have them one way.
Oh, nice.
Obviously. Here we go. It's magic time, everyone. Hi, we're Enterprise Explaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Bill, and these are my co-hosts, Maria.
Yellow!
And Jamie.
Hi.
Today our mission is a second contact, and what a second contact it is. Last week I told my co-host what happened, if anything indeed happened, in the Star Trek episode Dawn. They have now watched the episode and are back with their thoughts, so make sure you listen to last week's episode before you listen to this one. Before we get into that, a little bit of business. Just a reminder, we now have t-shirts available, so if you go to esonetwork.com and click on the TeePublic link, you can find our Enterprise Splitting logo shirts and our Porthos Appreciation Society t-shirts.
Which are so cute.
They are adorable.
They're so cute.
All right, let's get into it. So last week, Enterprise unwisely attempted to mash up the classic TOS episode Arena with Darmok and the 1985 movie Enemy Mine, and try to have Trip reach an understanding with a violent alien while progressively taking off his clothes. Maria and Jamie, what are your thoughts on Dawn?
This would have been a better episode if they'd really gone in on the enemies to lovers trope.
I agree.
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They attempted it in that other episode in Precious Cargo, but I feel like this was the place for it.
Oh yeah, Trip and a lizard lady.
Yeah. Or Lizard Man.
Well, I suppose. He does the thing I see in anime where the person is too weak to drink, so Trip takes that nasty fluid into the drink and then kisses the fluid into his mouth so that he can have to swallow it.
Gross. Sure. The look on Maria's face right now, I know the
Super
listeners
gross.
cannot see.
It's not an image I want in my head.
Well, there you go. I had to think it, and now you do too.
Great. Thank you.
One of my other notes was just Darmok, but bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. It was Darmok, but terrible. I had so many logistical questions. Why was Trip there on his own? Why was he testing this thing without any backup at all?
Yeah, where he wasn't even near the Enterprise. They weren't even, they didn't even seem to know exactly where he was. They were like, I don't know, he could be on any of these 80 moons.
Yeah. Right.
And you don't know the moon that he was right next to?
It's not like a shuttle pod mission has ever gone wrong in the history of this show.
Right, exactly.
My headcanon is that Archer suggested that Malcolm go, and Trip was like, no fucking way am I getting in a shuttle pod with him ever again.
And then the other thing was all of the food stuff was annoying. So Trip being surprised that the guy wasn't drinking water, okay,
Right.
I can almost see that. But Trip trying to give the guy his food after that happened was just dumb. How do you know it's not poison to them?
Also, when he drinks from it, I get why, he thinks it's water, and then he drinks it and he spits it out, but he throws the thing onto the ground, and then all this liquid that clearly this other alien needs is, spilling out onto the ground. At the end, when he was, dying, which also kind of, I was a little bit confused, because it did say that he doesn't sweat, but then he apparently needed liquids. But I was like, well, maybe if Trip hadn't spilled out all of his life-saving liquid stuff.
Also, once the Enterprise found them and Trip was like, absolutely not, I am not leaving this guy. Why didn't they just beam some supplies down to them?
I know.
A tent, an umbrella,
Yep.
some water, anything to help them in that situation?
No, it's the dumbest thought in the world. It's the first thought you have. Okay, well.
Yeah, great, okay. I can't come up there, send some stuff down to me.
And again, I think we mentioned this when we talked about the episode. This could have been explained with a line. It's there's some kind of atmospheric problem. We need you to boost the signal, and that's why they can't force to Trip. They could just beam Trip up. They don't need his permission.
Right. Yeah, that too. Well, I think that was what Archer was implying, was that he was allowing Trip to do this, but in a couple of minutes he wasn't going to have a choice. He was going to have to.
Yeah.
And here's the other side of that, is that Trip being down there didn't actually help the guy.
No.
Like, Trip was not doing anything to keep him alive. Like, he wasn't shielding his body with his own body.
No, he was just laying down to die next to him.
Well, he was just helping him drink, I guess.
I was confused why the Arconian shuttle. So the Arconian shuttle was the only shuttle that could go down, but then it took them back to the Enterprise.
Yep.
And I was like, why would it have not just taken it to the Arconian ship?
Mm-hmm. The explanation of why it was the Arconian shuttle is Trip said that he had looked at their ship.
I
and he
understand
figured
why it was the Arconian shuttle, but why did it take them to the Enterprise?
Presumably the Arconians have a doctor on their ship.
Right. And they're the ones who need it more than Trip did, so...
Stepping back, you want to have the final scene between the two of them, and I guess they didn't want to build an entirely alien ship for 1-3 minutes. That's the actual explanation of it.
Yeah.
The scene with Archer and T'Pol, when T'Pol was trying to like give Archer info about what the Vulcans know about the Arconians, and he was being such a baby about it. Like, he made it seem like it was just the Vulcans' fault that the Arconians are being so aggressive towards them, which partially it a little bit was because they don't like the Vulcans and they saw that there was a Vulcan on the ship, but the Arconians were doing this before that. Like, they shot down Trip's shuttle before they knew there was a Vulcan involved. It just seems like the Arconians suck and are super aggressive towards everyone. So but Archer was making it seem like this was all T'Pol's fault somehow.
Well, that is his move.
My note is that the Enterprise crew has met its match. Like, they are the version of the Arconians.
They bonded over the fact of how much they both hate the Vulcans.
Yeah, let's talk genocide. What have you guys done?
I will say, I actually did like Archer's diplomacy in this, because guess what? He didn't start a war, and I think he also like he put on air. So like there was that episode recently of not of this season, of last season of Strange New World, where we learned that had Pike been in charge of the Enterprise during the first meeting with the Romulans, things would have gone bad because he is a diplomat. He's a nice guy. And you can't do that with the Romulans. You have to project strength. So I thought that this was an odd instance of his, jerky demeanor actually getting through. Like he broed up on them, like, and they sort of like respected that, so that actually worked out well. Yeah.
Also, so after the scene when Archer was being a little baby with T'Pol, later on, there was a scene where T'Pol is like, I guess it's like after they figured out which moon he was on or whatever, but she's looking in that, like, the things that look like a submarine periscope.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, the science view thing.
So she's looking in that, and Archer comes over and asks her what she found, and she says, "See for yourself." And then Archer looks in, which, first of all, I want to say, when they look in that thing, all it is just a screen that they're looking at. So I don't know why that thing exists. Like, why don't they just show them a screen? But
because it existed in the original series and they had to.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
But what I love is Archer asked T'Pol what she found. She goes, "See for yourself." He looks at it. It's a screen of like a graphic of a bunch of moons orbiting.
I love that
He
graphic.
clearly has no idea what's going on. So he looks at it and then he looks at her and he just goes, what is this? And T'Pol has to explain it anyway. Like, I love that T'Pol just being like, "Why don't you figure it out?" Like, I do not believe that T'Pol thought that Archer would know. I think that she did that knowing he would have no fucking idea.
How great would it be if Archer leans back and he has a big black ring around his eyes?
Then he sits down and there's a whoopee cushion on the chair. It was kind of interesting. This episode was directed by Roxanne Dawson, who was B'Elanna on Voyager. And then I have a note that I do not know what it means, and it just says...
Let's see if we can decipher it.
It just says, "Is he an alcoholic?" Or, "Is he just an alcoholic?"
Oh,
Don't know what that means. I don't know if it had to do with the drinks that they... I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't think so. I know that I made a joke about, like, the reason why they don't have like he's missing some kind of supply. I made a joke about they opens up the supply cabinet, it's just another bottle of bourbon that Archer is.
Maybe it was that. I don't remember, but yes, that's all. I didn't have much.
I
was not impressed by this episode.
No,
as you can probably tell.
I usually have a couple pages of handwritten notes. I had 1 page of handwritten notes this time, and I was like struggling even for that.
This episode wasn't good, and it wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trip, when he was wearing, he had the Enterprise uniform on and he had it unzipped and around his waist and like tied around his waist. And we've seen Archer do that before. And when Archer did it, Archer had on the black undershirt with the button down and it was sleeveless. Trip had his blue undershirt, which means he must have taken the black one off, but it looked bad. Like the black one would have looked way better. Like the blue tank with the like blue jumpsuit around a waist, it looked bad. I think they should have just had him in the black button down.
But wasn't he also in the Precious Cargo episode? It was sort of the same thing
Precious
because he
Cargo,
was running.
He was like had his shirt off. I don't think he had no shirt on.
Well, no, he did. He had his shirt off, but then
we're so bored with this episode. We're recapping another episode.
Recapping another one. Okay.
That we didn't like.
I did notice it just because I was doing the graphics for that episode earlier, and he was in the blue shorts and tank top.
Yeah,
when he was fighting,
but he didn't have the. He didn't have his uniform.
He did, yeah. When
so
that's
this
right,
was like
right.
the uniform was on the bottom.
That's
it just looked bad. And I'm also confused about why they have the blue tanks at all anyway, because they already have, they have the black undershirts on already. And then they have the blue tank. They wear blue tanks on under the black undershirts. And then the uniform
was one or the
that.
other.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Because we can always see the black.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not their uniforms aren't zipped all the way. We can always see that he has the black on.
Yeah, that's true.
So it definitely seems like they have the blue tanks on under the black. It just makes no sense.
So we're talking while we're on the topic of costuming. I'm going to expand this a little bit. Any thoughts on the Arconians' uniforms?
It was weird looking.
Yeah, it didn't really make an impression. As an extension, I thought the makeup looked fantastic.
The makeup looked great.
Yeah.
The uniforms had a weird look to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It had like weird line things.
It sort of looked like it was almost part of his skin, kind of. They sort of built it into it. It also like I mean the makeup is great, but also like I feel like they're really one note on their aliens. They're all kind of like Suliban-y reptilian things, you know? When it's an alien you see for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, I like this one. I actually thought it was fairly elaborate, just like very crocodilian, like with all the individual like teeth, I guess, or horns, I guess. For lack of a better word. And I thought the venom spitting was awesome.
Yeah, the venom spitting was awesome, and it was fun because it was different. Like I feel like so much of the time, Star Trek aliens are basically just like humans with bumpy foreheads, or even if they look really different, like a Klingon, they might have a different culture. They're actually like could be human. Like they're not doing anything that special. So it did feel cool to have like. The venom spitting was very cool. And the
food, right? The fact that they had completely incompatible food and drink, which you don't see all that often either. Yeah.
My last note was that Trip really got beat up. Archer would be so jealous when he finds out. But that scene went on so long, the fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is why we need B-plots. I think it's just like there wasn't enough episode to fill the whole episode, and they needed a B-plot.
Like, well, I mean, getting back to Darmok, like Darmok is not, there's not a B-plot in Darmok. It's just like them trying to figure out what these aliens want. But this episode is not.
I know Darmok, and you, sir, are no Darmok.
Exactly. Speaking of, I really wish they had leaned in and gone further. Like the the high point of Darmok for me is where Picard is telling the story of giving the baby version of Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and he's making huge gestures and stuff. I sit and think about what story would Trip try to tell, and I completely blanked on it. I was like, what story do I want Trip try to tell that would make me laugh so hard? Like a NASCAR race, or like something about Dale Earnhardt intimidating another driver. Or explaining like the plot of Porky's, like just laying it out.
Yeah, I did think it was like, I liked that Trip sort of eventually somewhat they started to understand each other or whatever, but it was also very funny that pretty much his entire strategy was to just yell words louder and louder and
Well, he learned that from Hoshi.
Fair.
I did like the twist of he has the gun, he throws the gun away, the guy instantly attacks him and tries to get the gun back.
That's so good. He's like, all right, now I'm going to throw it away for realsies, though.
Yeah, this was an entirely mid-episode. I wish it had been... obviously, I wish they all had been better written, or I wish it had been crazier, but this was just, this was aggressively mid.
It's a great idea. I mean, there's a reason that it feels like a rehash of other stories, because it's a great story, but something about it just didn't work. I can't put my finger on exactly what made it not work, but it just didn't work. Like, I didn't care about this other alien. I didn't really believe their like friendship or care. I don't know.
There seems to be a subset of these episodes that are written for kids. Like, the mining colony episode was the anti-bullying episode, and this seems like the let's get along. This seems like the Prodigy level, like, we're going to teach lessons to children.
It was almost like too straightforward, like you knew every beat, and I feel like if it put some wrench in there somewhere where like maybe they really can't ever become friends or truly understand each other, or like something to just make it more interesting. I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
We got to stop trying to fix this show, yo.
Yeah.
We're going to make it work.
But anyways, we really squeezed as much juice out of this episode as I think we could.
The toothpaste tube is empty.
Yeah. I was having trouble even writing notes down for it.
Let's never speak of this again.
Well, I had watched it, behind the scenes, though, it's been a few weeks since we've recorded, and I had watched it almost immediately after we recorded, and today I was trying to prep for Second Contact, and I remembered the plot, but I could not picture a single scene. I didn't remember what the alien looked like. I literally could remember nothing. I had to go back to the episode and like watch parts of it to remind myself what the hell happened, because it's completely forgettable.
Aggressively mid.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, we can move on to something more interesting. Our friends at First Flight Pod have set us up for the second half of the second season, which we are now entering into, and they have graciously provided us with Two Truths and a Lie.
First of all, for the past 6 months, as I've been talking to guests, inviting them on our podcast, I'm often like, if they're a guest that has already watched Enterprise, I've been like, you want to come on to talk about the episode Dawn? Because that's our halfway point episode, and we're going to need someone to come on to do Two Truths and a Lie. So you could come on and talk with us about Dawn and then do Two Truths and a Lie. And every single person I have asked has been like,
hard pass.
No, thank you.
Everyone has been like, that's not an episode of Enterprise. I would have remembered it if I was, even the First Flight Pod, people were like, Dawn, that's not an episode of Enterprise. I don't remember that one.
So I did reach out to our friends over at First Flight Pod, and they did not want to come on to talk to us about Dawn.
Oh, God.
Maybe they just couldn't. I think maybe they just couldn't make it to our recording this week, but or maybe they just did not want to talk about Dawn.
No. In fairness, after I watched the episode, I listened to their episode about Dawn. They're very nice about it. They're like encouraging.
They are nice.
They're so nice.
They're so much nicer than us. I don't know why they even talk to us.
And they did have positive things to say about Dawn. So not to put words in their mouth, they did have nice things to say about Dawn.
Well, they sent us a recording. They actually, each one of them did their own Two Truths and a Lie for us. So we now have actually four truths and two lies.
Oh shit, we're back at Jamie's season 1 ending.
But they're split into two.
We're back in a night in sick bay.
They're split into two.
Well, hello, friends at Enterprise Splaining. It's Abby and Chris from the First Flight Podcast. Thank you so much for the invitation to send in our 2 truths and a lie for the second half of season 2.
This is some Saw level
Yes,
shit.
thanks for this chance to amaze you with some tiny bites of what you have coming up. And as you know from our Enterprise podcast, we love the silly bits of this show just as much as the serious and dramatic moments. In fact, we had so much fun brainstorming these that we each have a list to challenge your Enterprise prediction skills. So, without further ado, here are my 2 truths and a lie. Number 1, forget catfish. Trip's new favorite food is a plain slice of bread. Number 2, an aged Travis travels back to the present with a warning about the temporal Cold War and then promptly dies before the opening credits.
Lie.
And number 3,
No, that's true.
Phlox cures Borg assimilation with radiation.
Lie.
No.
Those are some choices right there.
Oof.
Yeah, that's quite a set of truths and lies. So let's dive into my set. Archer, Trip, and T'Pol work to trick a godlike being into liberating his harem of pre-industrial alien women.
Oh no.
Number 2, T'Pol endures the Pon farr while locked in the decon chamber with a naked Phlox.
No.
No.
And number 3, Malcolm and Trip get stuck in a time loop discussing stegosauruses.
Plausible.
Those 3 are quite a combo there.
That's for sure.
All right, so there's your challenge. Where are the lies in those very interesting sets of choices? I personally cannot wait to hear your predictions.
Me too. So, thanks again for inviting us on this fun game. Have a great time in the back half of season 2. It only gets better.
Yeah, talk soon.
We can start with the first one with Abby's. I wrote them all down so I can repeat them.
Okay.
Trip's new favorite food is a plain slice of bread.
Plausible. I can see a circumstance where that would happen.
And aged Travis travels back to the present with a warning about the temporal Cold War and then promptly dies before the opening credits.
That implies that Travis actually does something, but I think
He dies
this
before
is...
the opening credits. That is
Yeah.
absolutely in line.
That's-
For me,
I
that one is
also-
there's
100%
no doubt.
something that happens. I 100% believe that.
Also, I think they wrap up the temporal Cold War this season, so that's extra plausible. Okay.
And then 3, Phlox cures Borg assimilation with radiation.
That's the lie. There's
Which
no...
that's the thing. I feel like that has to be the lie. But then I remember when Chuck tricked us with the Ferengi thing, and we were all like, absolutely not. There are no Ferengi yet.
Right.
And now I feel like this
Well,
is going
we
to get
gotta-
us the same way.
We got into the Ferengi because, and I think we all assumed that, like our memory was that they had never met the Ferengi before, and it was like we don't know anything
never
about
met
them.
They specifically said that they'd never
Okay,
met the Ferengi before.
Well,
But if you think about this logically,
even in Enterprise, Picard had met the Ferengi when they fought them on the Stargazer. He just didn't know they were the Ferengi. So, that's
this
my
is
pick.
this is like Strange New
Your pick
World
is the
making up
Borg.
an excuse to have a holodeck episode. Like this
yeah,
is
for real.
Enterprise could
But-
totally do it, but I don't know. I have to go with the Borg one personally.
Yeah, the Borg one is my pick as well.
I think that's right. Because if just looking at the other, the Trip bread one might be.
I know
He
I can
does
picture.
like the catfish,
But I
Do you
can
think
too.
He likes a plain slice of.
I can
bread?
picture a situation. I can picture a situation where Trip is like in a situation where he's starving to death, and he gets a piece of bread, and he's like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever tasted in my life."
I'm going to go with that one just to be contrary.
Okay. So then we have Chris's. The first one was Archer, Trip, and T'Pol work to trick a godlike being into liberating his harem of pre-industrial alien women.
I don't even question that one. I just
No,
assume
that
that's
was
true.
that sounds
seems
like a
100%
classic
true.
TOS episode.
I was going to say, that
yeah,
sounds like a TOS episode.
Yep.
2, T'Pol endures the Pon farr while locked in a decon
wait.
chamber with a naked Phlox, which is upsetting.
No, I think that's the
True.
lie.
I'm leaning towards that one.
And then 3, Malcolm and Trip get stuck in a time loop discussing stegosauruses. So the problem with number 2 is back when we had Chris and Abby on our podcast, they mentioned that at some point we will see Phlox naked, and it makes me think number 2 is true, but I really don't want it to be.
No, I'm gonna go with number 2 because I can't deal with that at all.
God. Okay. Well, now I have to be the non-voting.
I have to be the
Yeah.
I
I'm
have
going
to be
with
the
number
contrarian.
2.
I could see that happening.
Great,
So can I
for
that
you.
I
Don't tell
really
us
don't
about
want
it.
to?
Well, no. I mean, I can see the circumstances under which that would happen. Yeah, I'm gonna go. A time loop talking about stegosauruses. I'm gonna go with that one. That's my pick because I can absolutely see this show introducing a godlike being with a harem. That's the Enterprise I want to see. I want to go back to horny Enterprise. Give me more horny Enterprise. Fulfill your promise that you sold us in the pilot
Seriously.
episode. All right.
Seriously.
Thank you, First Flight Pod. Please check them out. They are a very fun and very nice podcast about Star Trek Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody's favorite part of the Second Contact. We're moving into Memory Alpha, where we talk about the weirdest and most fun article on Memory Alpha, the Wikipedia for official Star Trek canon. What do you got for us, Jamie?
So today, in honor of Maria, there is a
Uh-oh.
Memory Alpha page for foot.
I thought I thought I was banned from speaking of feet.
When I first tried to look for it, I got a foot, the unit, and I was like, this isn't right. But then I did figure out there was a foot page in anatomy. So you got to make sure you get to the correct foot page. The first thing on this page, there are 4 photos of feet. None of them are human. There's just Talaxian feet, Megazoid feet, Klingon feet, and then one of them is Denobulan foot. And it's one of Phlox's feet.
Oh, sure.
So gross.
And then it defines foot. Wait, I just want, if you guys were going to define foot, how would you describe a foot? What is a foot?
The hands of the leg.
An appendage. Well, I was going to say bipedal, but then animals have feet too. An appendage of creatures that is used for perambulation. There we go. How do you like that one?
That's what I would have done, like an appendage that you use to walk or something.
Yep.
No. The definition of foot on this page is a foot was the lowest part of a humanoid body. What?
Depends on how they're moving.
Yeah, I know. And then it was covered by several species with socks and or shoes. Feet often ended with toes.
Welcome to the new tagline for this podcast. Feet often ended with toes.
I love, apparently non-humanoids do not have feet. It doesn't even describe them, except that's just the lowest part. And then it just has a bunch of references to various episodes where there are feet. It only has 2 to Enterprise. One of them is an episode that we have not seen yet. Okay. And the other one, do you want to guess which episode?
I'm
so sorry. There are 2 other Enterprise ones that we have seen that are on here.
So one is Night in Sick Bay, and then there's 2 more?
One is a Night in Sick Bay, however. It is not Phlox.
What?
It doesn't. It has the photo of Phlox's foot, captioned Denobulan foot, but for a Night in Sick Bay, it says, in 2152, Jonathan Archer sarcastically suggested that the Cretacean reconciliation demands would involve standing on one foot with my eyes shut, reciting the night before Christmas. It doesn't mention Phlox cutting his toenails.
Here's the thing about Phlox's feet, and I'm sorry to bring this up again. That was somebody's job. Somebody they went to the makeup department and said, we need you to create the grossest, something that's really going to revolt people. Yep. And concept artists had to sit down and draw this, and they had to fabricate what Phlox's toenails look like.
And the same with his tongue.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
gross.
Oh, I should check if there's a tongue
You
page.
should, yeah, that'll be next time on Memory Alpha.
But I just couldn't believe that they did a night in sickbay and like pulled up that line instead of like the very I feel like a kind of iconic scene of Phlox in his feet.
Well, I guess if you're going to quote it, there's not really a quote about Phlox's.
But you don't
Like,
have
you
to
just
quote. You
see
can
'em.
just like show it or like mention what he was doing.
What did you do today? I spent 2 hours editing the Memory Alpha episode on article for feet.
So there's one other Enterprise foot mention that we've seen already, and it was from the episode "Fortunate Son," which is the episode about Travis, the one Travis episode. And
Feet?
okay, it just says First Officer Matthew Ryan of the Earth Cargo Service Freighter ECS Fortunate told
hunk.
Captain Jonathan Archer that he took over command of the ship until his captain was back on his feet.
Lame.
Captain
my
Keen was
God.
wounded in an attack by Nautican pirates. Yeah,
Nautican.
so boring. I just feel like somebody must have like done a Control F search of all the scripts or something.
Yeah, no.
Because back on his feet, that's metaphorical. He's not really talking about feet. I don't even feel like it should be in this article.
And I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I found 3 examples of feet in the last few episodes and shared them.
Now that I have editor status on Memory Alpha, do I need to add in here like
Oh my
Malcolm picking at his feet?
Jamie, you
Oh my
don't
God.
want that.
I
You
can't
don't
add
want
that
that on
in
your
here.
digital trail. You do not want that.
Also, I don't feel like that deserves. I don't feel like that's enough to deserve to be in here, but I do feel like the Phlox thing should be in here.
Should be, yes. Agreed.
Okay, maybe I'll think about how to phrase it in order to add it. Anyways, that is this week's Memory Alpha.
Thank
Amazing.
you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for Read Alerts, which, as we always remind you, stands for READ Alerts, where you send us emails or messages and we read them and are alerted to them. Jamie, do we have a Read Alert?
Yes, we have 2 short ones. So we've started having this thing where listeners have started sending us their recommendations.
Great. Okay.
Fabulous.
So we got a recommendation on Blue Sky.
Terrible
from,
idea, but okay.
at Darth E. Myros, who said, "Evening, folks. Got another recommendation for you all. The new Jurassic Park film is decent." Which is it's really funny for a recommendation to be like, this movie, it was decent. It was fine. It was fine.
I think that was actually a poster quote. Decent. Some person on the internet.
Some Enterprise planning fan.
Someone who was a fan of Star Trek Enterprise said that Jurassic Park.
But yeah, he said he saw it with his wife and son, and it was probably one of the best of the franchise in a while, which I guess tells you about that franchise. I have not seen, like, I've obviously seen like the original, but I have not seen the like Jurassic Park, the new franchise.
I've seen a few of them. They're fine.
This is 100% getting cut out of the edit. I don't know what to tell you.
I did learn something, though, Jurassic Park related, just this weekend. Yesterday, my brother and my nephew were in town, and we went to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. And we went on one of the safaris, and as you're going through, I was like, this is very Jurassic Parky. And the tour guide was like, Spielberg came and took a bunch of pictures. And so that's why the original Jurassic Park is based on the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Very
As a
cool.
San Diegoan, I knew that already.
Well,
I've
you
done
didn't
that.
tell us, did you?
I remember when I was a kid learning that fact.
Jamie doesn't like to talk about it because her car was pushed over the edge by a T-Rex, and then they had to... That's why Jamie doesn't eat Jell-O anymore.
We have one more that I just have to read from the same person.
Oh, boy.
And he said, he just out of nowhere tagged us on Blue Sky and said, "I love the Diane Warren updates that Jamie does. They are so fun, and Diane Warren sounds like a person that I'd like to hang out with. Her attitude towards life is very no nonsense, and I love that." Just wanted to put that out there. And actually, like, I'm noticing right now, because I went to Blue Sky right now so I could quote it, and I just saw that somebody else replied, another listener at Blether Dog replied and wrote, "I love the Diane Warren updates. I never knew anything about her, and now I can't get enough." So,
Welcome
with
to our
a
world.
Schitt's Creek gift. So, that's where we're at. Everyone apparently likes the Diane Warren update, except for that one person that reviewed us at one time. And that's it for Read Alerts, READ Alerts.
That's our episode. Thank you for sitting through this nonsense. Next episode, Maria will be telling us about the episode Stigma. Special thanks to K.O. Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance, and to our friend David for our beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you like the show, please, look, I know this is all boilerplate at this point. If you haven't already, take 5 seconds and rate this show on your podcast episode of choice, because it does help other people find the show. We do appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as Enterprise Splaining, and on Blue Sky as Enterprise Splain. You can also email us any comments, questions. No, send us suggestions as to what story would Trip be telling if this was his Darmok to enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. I'm really curious to see what people come up. You don't even have to post it on Blue Sky. That'd be fantastic as well. Yeah, what is Trip's Darmok Gilgamesh story? I'm really looking for suggestions for this. And if you want to support this podcast, which you absolutely should, go to Buy Me a Coffee, find us as Enterprise Splaining, and throw us $3. And I will not stop talking about it. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's the episode. Thank you for listening. Sorry.
Thank you for listening.
Thank y'all for listening.
Hey, Insane Ian, it's Luke Ski. Since you're the announcer, I need you to record a promo saying that my Animation and Stuff podcast has joined the ESO network. Say something about how I'm an animation industry storyboarder, writer, and voice actor, and that in each episode I'll be discussing animated shows, movies, and other pop culture stuff with a different guest co-host each episode, like our fellow comedy musicians Devo Spice, Tony Goldmark, Carrie Dalby, and you. And each show ends with awesome comedy music tracks. And keep it under 30 seconds or Kevin Eldridge will give you a Chicken Town beatdown. I need it in the next 27 minutes. Okay, thanks, bye.
Luke Ski's Animation and Stuff podcast.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.